Bueno, nuestro siguiente ponente tenía que haber venido esta mañana, ha llegado un poquito tarde, pero está aquí, tenemos muchas ganas de escucharle. Él es Brian Burke, él es vicepresidente de investigación en Gartner y desde el 2010 lidera la investigación que esta empresa está haciendo sobre gamificación y el impacto que esta tiene en los negocios, en el mundo de los negocios. Recientemente ha escrito un libro que se llama Gamify, cómo la gamificación motiva a las personas a hacer cosas extraordinarias. Pero ¿hacia dónde va la gamificación? ¿Cuál es el futuro de la gamificación? De eso nos va a hablar aquí hoy Brian Burke. Así que un fuerte aplauso para él.
We Day is more than a one-day event. It launches a year-long series of actions to better our global community. And we make that commitment today.
You can all work together to make the world a better place for everybody.
Together, we can all change the world.
World peace must come through inner peace.
Look around you. There are thousands of empowered youth right here, right now.
One heart with courage is a majority.
There is no room like this room anywhere on the planet.
Did anybody work hard to get here today?
United, we are one voice.
We Day has changed my life. I'm so impacted. I can't even describe to you.
We Day, are you ready to change the world?
We Day is a production that's put on in stadiums around North America. And the intent is to really engage and motivate young people to participate in social change. So it's all around getting people to participate in social good. And as that girl at the end said, you know, she's so impacted that she can't wait to start. But here's the challenge. When I spoke to Greg Kielberger, he said, you know, the challenge is that We Day is just one day. So how do you take all of that energy, all of that emotion, all of that motivation, and make it into something that people are going to feel every day? So what they did was they created what they call We 365. We 365 is a gamified solution where these people can go out and they can participate in causes, they can complete challenges, and they can, you know, actually get engaged on a daily basis in these social good activities. And so I think this is really a great example of how you can take the kind of motivation that you feel in that stadium environment and then translate that into something where people are actually taking action and do that through a digital engagement model. So I'm completely convinced that attending a We Day event is fantastically motivating. The challenge is how do we get that into action? And We 365 was the answer. So, you know, it kind of brings me to what's new about gamification. And when you strip away all of the pieces, lots of bits of gamification have been around for a long time. The Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts have been using badges for 100 years. Military has been using medals for 1,000 years or more. And so this idea of using points and badges and rewards to really engage and motivate people is actually nothing really new. What's new about gamification is that it uses a digital engagement model. That means that we're connecting people through mobile apps, through fuel bands, through all kinds of different digital devices. And that's really what's created the trend around gamification. Because when you have a digital engagement model, that model scales, so it grows. So if you're Nike Plus and you are using a digital engagement model to engage, you are engaging 22 million people. If you are Khan Academy, you're engaging 6 million people. So it scales. And it is asynchronous, means that it's not dependent on us being in the same room. It is extensible to anywhere in the world, so it covers distance. We can connect with other people through social networking. And of course, it scales at a relatively low cost. So let's compare two models, a digital versus a physical engagement model. And we're going to use Weight Watchers. Weight Watchers is a program that's been around since 1963 to help people lose weight. They have meetings, and they get together. They all, go rah-rah, jump on the scale, and lose weight. They have more than 1 million members and 56,000 employees, and they generate their income from meetings. MyFitnessPal is a similar gamified application that does the same thing without the meetings, but it does have social interaction through social networking. They have 50 million users, and they have 75 employees. So what does that mean? Well, let's take a look at Weight Watchers' stock price over the last 15 months. And here, you'll see the quarterly earnings. On the first one, they declined 17% because of declining meeting revenue. Again, here, 19%, the CEO resigns. Over here, 20% decline. Dividends were cut. And over here, 28% decline. And wearables and gamified applications were blamed. So when you shift from a physical engagement model to a digital engagement model, it actually breaks business models. And what you're seeing right now is the slow breaking of the Weight Watchers business model. So that's what digital business is. And it's really blurring the lines between the digital and physical world. So when we're talking about gamification, I think we really have to talk about it in terms of digital gamification. So because we created this buzzword. Well, Nick was here earlier and said that he created it much earlier, but it became popular in 2010. And why is that? It's because of digital engagement. That's what's happened. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the future of gamification. And when we talk about the future, we really need to talk about it in context. Okay? If we were to look at gamification in 5 or 10 years in the future, gamification is not the only thing that will advance. Many other things will advance at the same time. Let's take a look at some of the technologies that will advance. Okay, we have these technologies that are all up and coming now. I'll just pick out a few of them and talk about what they are. Smart advisors, that's things like IBM's Watson that beat other players on Jeopardy. That's evolving now to diagnose cancer. The Internet of Things is everything connected. We'll have, in average houses, 500 things connected. Sensors, augmented reality, things like Google Glass, drones, MOOCs, gesture control, all of these things are coming at the same time. So when we think about the future of gamification, we really need to think about it in context of what the future is going to be like. And what the future is going to be like is a future where atoms behave like bits. How do bits behave? Bits are easy to replicate, they're easy to move around, and those kinds of things. When atoms behave like bits, what does that mean? Well, what it means is instead of going out to buy your flat pack furniture at IKEA right now, which means that you go out and you look at the furniture, you buy a standard piece of furniture, you put it in your car, you ship it home, and you install it, what you'll do is you'll design your own furniture on the internet, you'll send it to your local fabrication shop, and they will cut it and build it custom to your size of your kitchen and install it in your house. So it's an entirely different business model, and it's broken because of digital business. It's broken because of the changes that we're going through. Machines become smarter than people. Watson beat players in Jeopardy. Now, smarter is a difficult word. Machines become better at repeatable problems than people do. Okay? So repeatable problems like diagnosing cancer, machines are becoming very well adapted to do. Everything gets connected, so from your coffee pot to your toaster to your refrigerator. So when you run out of milk, your refrigerator will know you ran out of milk, and it will order some more for you, right? And motivation becomes delivered digitally, because as we have more and more digital interactions and less face-to-face interactions, then delivering motivation digitally becomes really important. Now, if you're not sure that we're moving to a world where we have more and more digital interactions, just look in your hand. Because I noticed that virtually everybody here has a mobile that they're looking at right now. And so we are moving to a world with digital interactions. Okay, so what does this mean? What will the world look like, and what will gamification look like if we push this out sort of 5 or 10 years? Well, meet Samantha. Samantha is your virtual personal assistant, okay? Did anybody see the movie Her? Yeah? Okay, this is like, same name, Samantha. It's like Samantha in the movie, except she's super smart and maybe a little less sexy, okay? This Samantha is probably what we're going to see. And this Samantha is going to basically manage your life, right? So she's going to manage your time. She's going to manage your personal chores. I could have used Samantha last night to tell me that I needed to leave the conference earlier to get to the airport to get on my plane. But unfortunately, I ran into a traffic jam that I didn't know about. She would have. And I got delayed. You know, she'll do your personal chores. So, you know, when you're eating spaghetti at a business lunch and you get tomato sauce on your shirt, she's the one who's going to send out the drone to go to your house and pick up you a new shirt and bring it back. She'll manage your travel, accommodation, correspondence, background research, everything that a personal assistant does today. But she'll do more, because she'll be interacting with your clients, your colleagues, your friends, and your family members, so that when I say to Samantha that today is my daughter's birthday, by the way, today is my daughter's birthday, when I say to Samantha, she is going to make sure that I bought a gift, that I call her to say happy birthday, and all of those great things. So she's going to plan that part of my life too. She'll also be working with experts that I'm working with. But these experts aren't real people. They'll be my virtual physiotherapist. That is the person that's been prescribed to me by a doctor, which will be another gamified application that's going to help me with my physiotherapy, and on and on. So as we move forward in this world, you have to think about gamification in terms of what it's going to do. So, you know, the digital and physical worlds become blurred. So I'm out for a run with John. Actually, John isn't there. I can see John in virtual reality. I can see how we're doing. We can have a chat, but John happens to be running on a treadmill in Tokyo today because he's traveling. But it doesn't matter. We're still having that interaction. Eliminating barriers of cost, time, and distance. Already we're seeing this with MOOCs, so online courses. The problem with those, of course, is that they don't sustain engagement. We have a huge dropout rate. So what we need to do is gamify MOOCs so that we get people engaged, and then we can democratize education and make sure that it's available to people around the world. And what we'll see is how we're motivating the crowd, and we're going to motivate the crowd to do much different things. So we've already seen, you know, examples of motivating a crowd to engage them in a lot of activities with Foldit, who you're all familiar with Quirky, which is developing inventions for products, and in other areas as well. One of the things that I think is interesting is motivating the crowd to engage in public policy. Right now, you know, this is my opinion, but I believe representative democracy is just about broken. I think that most of the people living in Spain would agree with me. And so there's probably a different way to look at how we are engaging the citizens and deciding about policy. If you look at what's happening in Finland right now, they're crowdsourcing policy development. Right now there's a crowdsourced policy development around intellectual property laws. And so what they did was they actually created the legislation through crowdsourcing. And I think that as we go forward, so if we think about this new world, as we go forward, the whole notion of points and badges and leaderboards and all of that we talk about in gamification, it may or may not exist. It still becomes something important. But what the real core of gamification is motivation. And you know, we're not always motivated by points and badges and things. What are we motivated by? If Samantha helps us to shave 5 minutes off that task and shave 10 minutes off that task and shave another 20 minutes off that task because she got me to the airport on time and she got all of those things and helped me get them done, Then, the reward being that, now I can spend an hour having lunch with my kids at their school, right? And so maybe we don't count points, maybe we count minutes, right? And maybe the reward isn't a badge, but maybe the reward is an hour having lunch at your school, at this kid's school. And maybe when that happens, your wife will give you a badge that says you're a super dad. And also, she's going to order a romantic dinner for the evening, and with a lot of luck, you might level up. Okay, so, some ideas. When you think about the future in gamification, you want to think about how the physical and the digital worlds are really becoming blurred. You want to understand the gamification in terms of the impact of disruptive technologies, understand the opportunities, and how that fits into evolving social and economic trends. And to really unleash the power of gamification, you really need to think about digital engagement and motivation, because that's really what it's about. That's what I have. Thanks very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Any questions? Here. Aquí creo que había alguien en la sala. Ah, sí. Perfecto. Pues mira, levanta la mano para que te vean. ¿La puedes levantar? Vale.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you for your presentation. I have two questions. First is, if Samantha is telling you when your daughter's birthday is and remind you maybe every 5 minutes that you really need to call her now, does that decrease the importance for your daughter that you actually thought about her birthday? Like, is it the point of that type of social interaction to actually be from the person? And I'm sure I had another question, but this is the one that I'm
That's the
actually
one
really looking
that's
forward
really
to
on your mind.
answer.
Well, let's take a look at it right now. How did I know it was my daughter's birthday today? Because my Outlook calendar reminded me. So we're really just taking that incrementally further, right? And because I'm terrible at remembering birthdays. But, so I think it's an incremental change. And I think if you ask my daughter if she'd be offended that my Outlook calendar reminded me that it was her birthday, probably a lot less than if I missed it altogether. So I think that, as we move forward, you have to think of, what would life be like if you had somebody by your side helping you with all of these little things like lots of people do in your life. But it's a virtual personal assistant that's going to help you with that. Yeah?
¿Alguna pregunta más? Aquí.
Probably your daughter Samantha will talk with her assistant.
Yeah, she will. Yeah, she will, yes.
My question is, in relation to the technology, which one you think will make the big change in the next coming years?
With all of these technologies that I talked about, the biggest change is going to be through the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is where we have small devices and sensors that are connected to the internet so that basically everything starts to get connected to the internet. I use the coffee pot example. So when Samantha senses that I've woken up in the morning before the alarm, it'll tell the coffee pot to start making coffee. That kind of thing is the Internet of Things, where basically everything is connected. Everything of any real value is connected to the internet, and helping out in managing and orchestrating their use. Lots of different things in terms of asset utilization. So if there's a free parking spot 2 blocks down on the street, and it can tell you, a sensor can tell you that the free parking spot is there, instead of driving around and around and around until you find it, you go and park. There's just, the Internet of Things will be a pervasive set of sensors and devices that are all going to be connected, that are going to have tremendous impact on just everyday life.
Thank you.
Okay.
Había una pregunta más allí, pero... Está allí, perfecto.
Hi, Brian.
Hi.
And thank you for spending this time with us
My
this
pleasure.
evening. I'm a big follower of Gartner. I used to read your reports, and I'm very aware of your Gartner Hype Cycle that you publish. So currently, gamification is at the top of the peak of the expectation, no? Inflated expectation, and we are about to start the peak of delusion. So I want to know, in your opinion, which kind of, or what is going to drive this delusion to the companies or to the people who is trying to do gamification? What are the main pitfalls that we are find to be this delusion?
Okay. Right now in 2013, in the 2013 hype cycle, yes, you're right, gamification is at the peak of the hype cycle. When the hype cycles are published in a couple of weeks, I just finished off this last week, gamification will be at the midpoint in the trough. And what is going to cause that? Actually, it's already happening. If you look at the press today, if you look at the press and go to Google Trends and search on gamification over the last 12 months, you'll find that the trend is flat. That means that we're not increasing. And what you'll also find is that there's many more negative discussions around gamification. As you talk to companies as well, there's a lot more apprehension, there's a lot more fear around gamification being successful. Now, all of this is normal because when we reach the peak of inflated expectations, gamification can sing, it can dance, it can do anything, right? So there's exactly that, inflated expectations for what it is, what it's capable of. Then when those expectations fall down, we eventually come to the point where we recognize what are the opportunities and limitations of gamification. It doesn't mean that gamification is bad. It just means that it's been oversold. So we will recognize what are the opportunities and limitations of gamification and come out of that. But that is an inevitable curve. We track 1,400 technologies on that, and that it happens basically with all of them. So it's not necessarily a criticism of gamification. What it is a recognition of the reality of hype and then the reality of what is the potential. And ultimately, we move to the plateau of productivity where people understand what gamification is and are applying it appropriately more consistently.
Bueno, muchísimas gracias. Nos hemos quedado sin tiempo. Thank you very much. Un fuerte aplauso para Brian Burke. Un placer.